have no faith, Joe. He's Patrick Mahomes, Zachary. And he has looked like not Patrick Mahomes the whole start of the season.
Why are you going to a second overtime with this team? You really want a shootout with Caleb Williams?
There's a problem, Kurt.
Don't hate me. Hate the light pole. Don't hate me. Hate the light pole.
If you say the Bucks, it was the Lions. Whatever. They lost. Here's
Beautiful
why.
game, by the way.
Here's why they lost.
I have been on the Lions side since day one.
I keep breaking my chair.
Zach just went right for Joe's chin there. I want to build a playoff, boys. I've got a great league of teams, and I want to showcase their talent on a grand stage. Sponsored by a soda company and an overly successful tire company. How am I going to do that, you ask? Well, of course, I'm going to pick just 4 teams. We've got 133 of them, but I'm going to pick just 4. Then I'm going to have them play at different neutral sites, so I can still, of course, milk as much money as I can out of these 4 teams through bowl sponsors. How am I going to seed them, you ask? Well, that's a stupid question. I could use a computer-based system that ranks, them winning on the field and a power index that puts them 1 through 4 accurately, like every other sport on the planet. But that's just stupid. Why would I do that when I've got a bunch of...
We're not doing that.
When I've got a bunch of 60-year-old dudes who financially benefit from putting together high-grossing matchups, why would I do it the smart way? I'm just going to have those dudes tell us who deserves to be in and who the best teams are. That makes the most sense, right? That's how I would build my playoffs, Roll Tide, baby. Football fans, welcome to Under the Lights. I'm your host, Ethan. To my left, that is Joe. To my right, that is Zach.
Why'd you point up?
I kind of pointed that it's on my screen.
I think it was more just like, all right.
It's over there and over there. Either way. This is the show where we rant about the college football playoffs for about 20 minutes. And then we get to an electric NFL weekend. That's about how this episode's going to go. And I think we've all got a lot of ranting to do about the college football playoff, as does everybody else around the country right now. Episode 13 of Under the Lights. We're here Monday night, Tuesday night when you guys are watching this. We hope you guys are having a great night. Before we get into this episode, of course, as always, show some love. Scroll down, subscribe, give it a like, ring the bell so you don't miss another episode. Let us know how you guys are feeling. Interact in the comments. We love interacting with you guys. So interact with us. We don't bite. We don't bite. Sometimes you guys bite us. Zach found that out the hard way, but we don't bite,
I did. I got toasted.
We love interacting with you guys around here. So without further ado,
but I was right.
Let's get into the episode. We've got some ranting to do. I think that's pretty obvious to this point. College football playoff is set. We've got, as we expected, number 1 Michigan. I'll get to the other one. We've got number 2 Washington taking on number 3 Texas. That's up to 1 through 3, exactly how I expected this to go.
Yep.
But then number 4, you've got Alabama in there at number 4 as opposed to Florida State. I want to hear some general reactions about the playoff selections before I kind of dig in here.
Why? Why? How are we going to disrespect a team that just won almost
13
40?
Georgia. You're talking Georgia first.
That just
30 straight ball games.
Yeah, 30 straight ball games, and then lost to Alabama, and now all of a sudden they're the 6th best team in the country. How?
I'm not even necessarily mad at that. Alabama, they won their championship game. That is the exact criteria that the playoff asks for. But here's the thing. Florida State
also
won their championship game too. They went undefeated. Florida State took everything that was thrown on their plate and handled it. They handled it like dogs. They did exactly what they are asked to do, and that is win 13 football games, win your conference championship, handle your schedule. They did exactly that, and they did it with adversity. Cool. Jordan Travis is out. They're a different team. Guess what? That different team still won 3 football games.
And
without
that different
him.
Team's defense stepped up and arguably the end of the season was the best defense in the country.
Exactly.
That defense looked fantastic.
I
The fact that Florida State needed to lose a game early in the season to prove that they're a good team now, like if they would have lost like week 4 or something like that, and then went on this incredible run, they're probably in the playoffs. Well, that's probably not true because then they would have been like, oh, Florida State's a well-lost team, and
I will say this: I do hate the fact that Florida State is not a part of this, but playing the devil's advocate as I do from time to time,
you're a bad person.
also seeing college football, through the scope of someone who's been watching for a while. I know all those guys who are on the committee have been around the game or like a part of the game for a very long time. We talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago, the possibility of this Florida State team not making it because of Jordan Travis not being there. And you could tell it was on the forefront of everyone's mind going into that, selection Sunday. That being said, I still don't agree with it. I do think Alabama did catch fire at the right time, and I think they were one play away from losing
to Auburn.
Auburn in the Iron Bowl.
Here's my thing. The argument you're going to hear is that Alabama's a better football team. Maybe.
Who cares?
Maybe. That doesn't matter. That is not how this works. If Alabama is just a better football team, why do we play the games? Why don't they sit down at the beginning of the season and go, listen, the best TV ratings this season are going to be Georgia, Texas, Alabama. We'll throw Michigan in there. Those are your 4 playoff teams. Just do that. We can ignore it. Nobody has to watch it. Ship ESPN and their little bubble of high-grossing teams off to an island. We don't have to watch it. Give us college football. Instead, we have to wait all the way to the end of the season. We have to watch 13 games of football just for them to tell us, nope, Florida State's not good enough. Alabama's better. They won their games. That is how this works. And Alabama won their games too. You only lose 1 game. Great. But you have a loss to someone else in the playoff field. You're out.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. It's so silly to me. And you can say, yeah, Alabama's the better team. Okay, let's look at the current NFL playoff picture. You've got, out of the AFC, you've got the Steelers, Colts, and Browns at 5, 6, and 7. I think the Texans, Broncos, and Bills are 3 better teams. Let's throw them in there. I don't like the Steelers, Colts, and Browns. Let's take them out. I don't think they're going to get good ratings. Steelers don't score a lot of points. People don't like watching Gardner Minshew play. Deshaun Watson's out for the season. Those are 3 boring teams. Their quarterback's out. Biggest piece of their team. I don't think they belong. Let's put the Texans, Broncos, and Bills in instead. You got, on the other side, you got Packers, Vikings. I think when they're hot, the Rams are a better team than the Vikings. Let's take the Vikings out of there. Seahawks are down there. Geno Smith, when he's healthy. Yes, Zach, your Lions are up there. Geno Smith, when he's healthy, those Seahawks look really great. Let's take the Packers out of there. That's not how this works. It's a garbage system, and it's so frustrating to see this happen every single season. We knew it was going to, but it is the most frustrating thing to see it happen every single season.
I think it's also just not fair to the young gentlemen that have been doing it every week and consistently winning, like on the Florida State team. I think it's just not fair, to the team as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this team has fought all year to get to this point, and now there's people in high places saying that they're not good enough to be there.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous.
I think where they're at right now, they need to have an emergency 16-team playoff.
Heck yeah.
Because there is so many like a team Oregon. I still think they're one of the best teams in the country. The true losses were to Washington. So I understand not putting them in there. Obviously, I'm not advocating for them to be in there. But their 2 losses were to the second best team in the country, and they played them well both times.
Yeah.
I would also put Missouri in that.
Missouri was the next one.
Oh, Missouri for sure.
Ohio State as well.
If Missouri was not in Georgia's division, Missouri is a playoff football team. I think Missouri is better than Alabama. Alabama caught their best day of football against Georgia. Absolutely. That is a great football team. Nick Saban might be on the cusp of another few-year dynasty here. He's got a very young team that has a lot of potential. But that Missouri team is so good, dude. One thing I heard earlier, Stephen A. Smith said this. He said if Deion Sanders was coaching Florida State, they wouldn't have gotten left out.
True.
And what that comes down to, another thing that pisses me off about the playoffs is ratings, is views. It's just a money grab. Everyone wants to compare TCU last year to Florida State this year. They want to say TCU is the reason. TCU flew so Florida State could crash the plane into the ground, you know? They want to say that it's TCU's fault. Here's the difference between TCU and Florida State. First of all, TCU lost their championship game and still got in. Florida State won every dang one of them. 2, ratings. TCU last season, every single game was a top 10 grossing team. They had views on views on views. That was the argument to put them in the playoff versus other teams that could have possibly made those spots because TCU brought in viewers. So they got that spot. And everyone wants to say, oh, TCU got throttled. They beat Michigan in the first round. They won their first game. So
that hurt my heart when that happened.
The difference is if Michigan went to that championship game and got throttled, it's not the same story. It's, oh, well, Michigan had a bad day. When it's TCU, it's, oh, they do not belong. So that's why Florida State doesn't get in. I think it's a mixture of that, and it's a mixture of Florida State did not have the viewership. They did not have the money to make a successful playoff team in the eyes of those old dudes that financially benefit from high-grossing playoff games.
I think to make it right, you take out 3 and 4, Texas, Alabama, and move up 5 and 6, and it's FSU and Georgia. I think that's the right.
I still think Georgia's a better team than Alabama. But
100%. Georgia played.
Man, it makes me so upset that the fact that I called it at the beginning of the year and I wanted Georgia to win that 3rd straight natty, and then it just slips away because they lose a game by this much to an Alabama team that has already lost this year.
And they go from 1 to 6. That just doesn't make sense. Alabama lost to Texas and dropped from 1 to like 3.
Yeah.
But then Georgia loses to Alabama and loses their 1 seed after going 2 full seasons undefeated.
Georgia wins 29 straight games, loses 1, and all of a sudden they're not deemed a playoff team. The whole system is just broken. It's just broken. It's terrible. And another thing that really ticks me off is Jordan Travis gets hurt, and all of a sudden they're not a good enough team to be in the playoff. What is the meaning of a team sport then? What's the point?
That's what I'm saying. The sadness that I feel for those players that work their ass off.
Exactly. There are 43 dudes that rotate on that Florida State team. 43 dudes worked their asses off this season, and even more than that when you count injuries and such.
Yeah.
43 dudes worked their asses off just for grown-ass dudes to tell them, no, you are not good enough. What were they supposed to do?
Of them getting of them watching the rankings come out, and then dude, that video on it broke my heart.
It's heartbreaking. It's like those kids are my age.
Seeing those kids,
there are probably 20 dudes in that locker room older than me, and if I were to put in that kind of work for half a year of my life just for some old dude to tell me you didn't win your 13 games in a row convincingly enough, that'd kill me.
The fact that Jordan Travis has to tweet that I wish I broke my leg earlier.
I mean,
it's so sad.
It is ridiculous.
He literally said he said that he wishes he broke his leg week 4.
Yes.
So he could see that, so people could see how good this Florida State team
just
is.
a good football team. We've seen, even when Jordan Travis was in, we saw this team battle adversity all season. We saw them win games in so many different ways. We saw this defense step up in big moments. We saw Heisman moments out of Jordan Travis, yes. But this whole team stepped up and on so many occasions when they needed to. They proved that they can win football games under different circumstances. I think they can beat Michigan. I don't think Michigan's that good. I really don't.
Didn't play anybody all year if you ask James Franklin.
Florida State would be the third best defense that Michigan has played all year, and they have an offense. Tell me that game wouldn't be close.
That game would be fun to watch.
It's crazy.
It's honestly just disrespectful at the end of the day.
It's incredibly disrespectful. It's hard to see, and it's every season. And now that we have a 12-team playoff coming up, all it's going to be is 6 or 7 SEC schools. You're going to have your 5 automatic bids from your championships. You're probably going to have 2 or 3 other bids from your undefeated group of 5 champions. After that, they're going to have their pick of Big Ten and SEC schools. Yeah. They will never pick anybody else over those 2 schools. That's ESPN. That's all it is. Like, it's, oh my Lord.
The fact that, honestly, like, one of the worst parts about it is, like, they played a Louisville team with their 3rd-string quarterback going into that game as the number 4 team in the country. Mm-hmm. They win that game, and somehow they drop. They win that game, 3rd-string quarterback against a Louisville team that's good.
They also won that game as a 3 seed and dropped to a 5 after a win.
Yeah, that's what it was. 3-5. That's what it was. I thought it was 4-5. It was 3-5. It doesn't make sense.
Everyone predicted Louisville to win that game, and Florida State's defense shut them down.
And then Texas jumping from 7-3
that's
after
just
beating
crazy.
Oklahoma State. Who cares?
Who did they beat?
Oklahoma State's 9-3 going into
ridiculous.
That game. It's crazy. With all that being said, Iowa top 4.
We don't need to talk about Iowa.
Right now.
It's just frustrating. It's really frustrating to see. It makes me hate college football. I don't mean that.
This right here is part of the reason why
I don't mean that, but
I haven't liked college football.
It definitely makes me not at all excited for bowl season because I know it all gets wrapped up with a playoff that's just completely tainted. Like, that does not excite me.
Some of these bowl games too are kind of like, some of them are kind of cool, but
dude,
some of them are just some of them are
terrible.
Don't put those 2 teams against each other.
Our next segment here is we're gonna start our countdown to bowl season by predicting some of the best bowl games. It was hard to look through that list. I looked through them and I was like, man, who made these matchups? They don't care about bowl season anymore. Iowa State drew Memphis in the Liberty Bowl again. You know what the Liberty Bowl is supposed to be? It is supposed to be Big 12 versus SEC. There have been 2 times in the history of the entire Liberty Bowl that it hasn't been an SEC school on the other side. And that is when Iowa State goes. And they gave us Memphis both times. That is disgusting.
And it's at Memphis' home stadium, isn't it?
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Give us Auburn. Iowa State versus Auburn. I'll watch that game all day, every day.
I'd watch that game every day.
And then, like, one of the ones that really upset me is, like, Kansas, I think, is still a decent team in the country. And then they get, like, a team like UNLV, and it's like...
It's terrible.
Give them something that it's actually that's going to be like just a blowout of a game.
Unfortunately, the 2 Big 12 bowl games I'm excited for are Washington, Texas, and then Oklahoma versus Arizona, which are 2 teams that aren't even really Big 12 teams, but whatever.
Yeah.
The new SEC teams.
General title game reactions. A lot of blowouts. Texas, Oklahoma State, not exciting. Iowa, pretty much what we expected. Defense played phenomenal, but you've got no offense on the other side of the ball, so it didn't matter. Really, the only game that was exciting, and I didn't even catch it, was Washington versus Oregon. I mean, that was a fantastic game.
What a game.
After that,
a very fun game.
Alabama, Georgia was good, but at the end of the game, it wasn't really even close.
It just kind of that game lacked like the explosive plays that we thought we were going to see.
Yeah.
Like we didn't see like 20, 30-yard bombs down the field, which I'm cool with not seeing, but like it was just like it was a very slow-paced game.
Yeah.
It wasn't definitely the best one was Oregon-Washington. That game was so fun.
I loved watching that Oregon-Washington game. I didn't get to catch much of the Alabama Georgia game. I caught the end of it.
I caught the end after work, but I missed the exciting parts apparently. But
yeah, I wish I saw more of the good parts of that game because I agree. It was a slow game. I knew Iowa wasn't doing anything. Texas playing against OB State.
Not exciting.
Never like I would have loved the rematch, but Oklahoma had to lose to Oklahoma State.
There was actually this is a little bit of biased, obviously. My second favorite game to watch was the Iowa-Michigan one. Even though
it was fun to see Iowa's defense ball out like that.
It was not fun to watch them on offense. It was disgusting to see them on offense because Deacon Hill might be just as bad as Spencer Petras.
Spencer Petras, Utah State, baby. Transferred officially.
Yay.
I hope that man balls out. All I'm saying, I hope that man balls out.
But watching Iowa's defense when they're playing at their top, which realistically they were missing one of their best defenders, Cooper DeJean, because he snapped his leg.
It doesn't matter, dude. Freaking Phil Parker is
so fun.
Phil Parker's a genius, dude.
Dude, Phil Parker to USC, dude.
Oh my lord, that would ruin college football.
He's so good.
He is good. Let's count down to bowl season, boys. Let's start predicting some bowl games. First one I got. You cannot start bowl season with any other matchup than the Duke's Mayo Bowl. The winning head coach, of course, per the usual tradition, will have a Gatorade tub of mayonnaise dumped on his head.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I love it, though.
Lose this. I would want to lose this.
I love it, though. We've got
as a coach, I'm throwing this game.
We've got a repeat North Carolina taking on West Virginia. Matchup-wise, I don't necessarily love this game. I personally think North Carolina should, if they're all healthy and play. Obviously, bowl season's been a nightmare lately with transfers. But if they're all healthy, I think North Carolina is so much better of a team than West Virginia. I don't think this is a favorable matchup for West Virginia in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think. I have their the stats pulled up, and the top. Obviously, Drake May is the top quarterback.
Do they know if Drake May is playing?
It doesn't say on here for sure, but he's got over 1,000 passing yards more, or 1,500 passing yards more. The leading receiver has it's 798 to 1,000. Leading rusher 798 to 1,442. Leading receiver has 198 more yards total. So these stats aren't even comparable.
Yeah.
The top guys on North Carolina can just flat out play. It's going to be a backyard game.
They've been caught in some games though this year.
They have been caught in some games.
They've been shown that they can't play offense from time to time.
Big 12 historically in bowl season is not ever a favorable outing either, which in a game like this that I already think West Virginia doesn't have too much of a fighting chance. It's bowl season, so these are all teams that have won their way here. They've earned their way into bowl season, so they're obviously good football teams. But in a game where I'm already not too high on West Virginia, to know the Big 12's history on just not showing up in bowl games, I wanted to say something else, but I don't use those words on podcast. I don't know. I think North Carolina's getting that Mayo bath again.
Ugh.
What do we got?
I don't want Mac Brown to have to swim in some mayo.
Mac Brown's gonna need a shower.
He's gonna need a couple. I don't know how good mayonnaise comes out of your body, your skin, your hair. Give me the Tar Heels. Give me the Tar Heels.
It's just so gross sounding.
Zach, who you got?
I got North Carolina. I don't think this is a close game.
I don't necessarily think so either. Our next game is I think our next game is my favorite game of bowl season. You've got a team in Arizona who has been ridiculously hot to end the season, almost made that Pac-12 title game. They were right there. They won every game they needed to at the end of the season, just didn't get the right cards to fall. Against a team in Oklahoma who feels like they've been disrespected, feels like they should have got a New Year's Six bowl. They only lost 2 games. Feel like they should have been up there. Going against each other in the Alamo Bowl here, I don't think there's going to be a lot of opt-outs in this game. So 2 teams that really, really want to go win a bowl game, 2 teams that feel like they should have been in better bowl games, duking it out in this one. And don't get me wrong, the Alamo Bowl is a fun bowl game. It's in a great venue. They're usually great games. I mean, we've had Washington, Texas in this game. We've had Oregon. I don't remember who Oregon played in that one. We've had some great games in this one in the last 4 or 5 years. And I think this is another fantastic matchup. The Alamo Bowl normally gets it right. Who do we got? In this one? Arizona, Oklahoma. Dylan Gabriel will not be playing for Oklahoma. He has entered the transfer portal.
That's what I was going to say. That's the one thing about bowl season that I hate is you see so many players get in the transfer portal and just bounce, or they're just like, I'm going to the NFL, so I'm not playing.
Yeah.
So it really makes a lot of these games kind of meaningless to a sense.
I don't want to say that word, but I get what you're saying
but
there.
Not like meaning, because obviously there's still importance to the teams, but it's like last year or when Iowa played Kentucky, like half of Iowa or Kentucky's offense sat out, so it made Iowa just steamrolled them.
That they did.
But like if Will Levis would have played, that would have been a fun game to watch. And I think with Dylan Gabriel being out, it makes this game a little more fun to watch, because I think Oklahoma, it won't be nearly as good, and it won't be just kind of like Oklahoma score, Arizona score, and then Oklahoma. So I'm still going to take Oklahoma, but I think it's going to be a much better game in a score sense.
I got Arizona. Pac-12.
Don't tell me that Dylan Gabriel's out and then not pick Arizona.
Pac-12 has had their hottest season in a very long time. Arizona looks fantastic on both sides of the ball right now. Pac-12 has had probably the best season they've had in a long time in their very last season. I feel like the Pac-12 goes out hot in bowl season. Obviously, Oregon's going to win. They drew who was it? I don't remember the team, so I'm just going to say some group of 5, Tulsa. They drew someone like Tulsa.
Liberty or something?
Yeah, Liberty. They drew Liberty
yeah.
in the Fiesta Bowl. Congrats. But either way, I think the Pac-12 goes out hot this bowl season, and I think Arizona takes this one. I think they take down Oklahoma in this one.
I couldn't agree more. I think the Wildcats got hot at the right time of the year. I think the defense is physical. They played the game real hard. I like the offense being able to score. They've been able to score pretty much all year. Give me the Wildcats.
Love that.
About 40.
Last one we got here. We got the Cotton Bowl. I love this matchup.
This is going to be a fun matchup.
I loved it a lot more a few hours ago before Kyle McCord decided to also hit the transfer portal. Makes me think Ohio State's got a pretty good recruit coming in, because they tend to turn quarterbacks into gold there, and he definitely was not that. Missouri is taking on Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Love this matchup. I hate it without Kyle McCord, but if everyone else plays, granted, I doubt Marvin Harrison Jr. plays with his NFL potential, but if the majority of these guys play, Ohio State tends to have a deep enough roster that they always compete in bowl games. Ryan Day has a tendency of getting his guys fired up to still go and compete in these. So I think this is a very, very fun matchup. This is a New Year's Six game, and what I have to say to that is Ohio State's quarterback transferred, so more or less, shouldn't that deem them as a bad football team and not eligible to compete in a New Year's Six game? I'm just saying. Anyway.
They made the bowl predictions like they made the bowls like yesterday or 2 days ago. He just announced transferring today.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can't really
drop him out though. The quarterback's not there now.
Yeah, drop him out.
They're not a good team.
Just saying, they're not good. They're not good anymore.
Missouri team. Not allowed to play this Missouri team.
They're not good anymore. I got Missouri. I love this Missouri man, and I really want this Missouri team to go out on top. If the right guys sit out for this Ohio State team, this is a situation where you got a lot of young guys there. Missouri is filled with veterans. A big reason they had the successful season they had. They've got a lot of fifth-year seniors on that team. But those guys are all going to play. They're going to play in their bowl game. And I think Ohio State's going to have a lot of guys sit out per the usual. And I think Missouri's a little bit too good for Ohio State to handle that one. I think Missouri caps off a phenomenal season with a big bowl win here.
I think even if Ohio State has all their starters, I still think Missouri plays with them and plays this game really well. I don't think they win it necessarily if they're all playing, but I think it's still a touchdown 3-point game if they do have their starters. And I think without them, I think Missouri kind of takes this one.
I couldn't agree more. Go Tigers! This team is just built. This team is just built to win games this year. Like Ethan said, they're a bunch of dudes that have been playing for years now. They just want to go out on top. I agree with Ethan.
Want to go out and win, baby. That's our college football for the week. That's our bowl game. So far, we got a few more bowl games in the coming weeks before December 16th kicks off bowl season with some games I absolutely do not care about. I'm being honest tonight.
How silly you think they're going to feel if, speaking a little ahead, if Florida State
beats Georgia?
If Florida State beats Georgia, how silly are they going to feel?
Here's the thing. Florida State could still be a national championship team. If Florida State is to beat Georgia in that bowl game and Alabama and Texas go and play in the championship game, that would leave Florida State as the last remaining undefeated team in college football. Technically, analysts in the final AP poll could rank Florida State at number 1. They could then claim a national championship. There's no trophy to go with it, but it has happened since the beginning of college football. They can claim a national championship if they would like. It's not the same, but 3 of 4 of Iowa's national championships are claimed ones. Anyway.
Settle down. At least we can claim them. Settle down.
That's our halfway point.
You guys can't even claim a Big 12 title. Settle down.
Not since World War One. Anyway, that's our college football for the week. A lot of ranting there, like we said, but it was needed. Everyone in the country right now is getting those rants out of the way. We're to our halfway point where we're going to attack halfway heaters. That is where we rate your guys', the fans, the audience, your guys' hot takes going into this week. If you want to be involved in this segment going forward, again, engage down below. Give us your football hot takes, college football, NFL, broad takes from pre-World War I, Iowa State. I don't care. Give us your hot takes about these football teams, and we'll rate them here. We'll talk about them. Before we get into these 2 hot takes tonight, that should be pretty fun. Again, I want to ask you guys, subscribe. Scroll down, subscribe. If you're listening over on podcast, follow over there. Give it a rating. Let us know how you feel. We just want to, again, interact with you guys. Let us know how you guys feel. Let's get into halfway heaters, though, because we've got 2 exciting ones here. They're both NFL. And first one here, we've got after the 49ers-Eagles game this Sunday afternoon, we've got 49ers would have won Super Bowl 56 if Brock Purdy stayed healthy. We are not talking about this Sunday's 49ers-Eagles game quite yet because we do talk about that later. I'm talking specifically, this is the exact same 49ers team that they had last year. If Brock Purdy stays healthy, that team, as they do right now, felt like the team of destiny. Do they go to that Super Bowl, and do they win Super Bowl 56?
I don't think they win it. I think they beat the Eagles.
Do you think they beat the Eagles, first of all? Yeah.
I think they beat the Eagles. What? I don't know. Because, I mean, even still, I think it's a much better game, obviously. But even still, Eagles offense that game looked incredible. Like, I mean, they were clicking. They were still beating the 49ers defense. And obviously losing Brett Purdy is huge because then the offense just completely stalled. They had nothing going on.
For sure.
Yes. I think they end up beating the Eagles, but I don't think they beat the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs are good.
Say,
were good.
It is a very
They're not good anymore.
It's a
bad.
very hot
They're very
take.
bad dog water team.
It is a very hot take considering the fact that the Chiefs still existed last year. It's easier to say after watching this Sunday's game, recency bias, that the 49ers would have beat the Eagles last year. It is not as easy to sit and say they were guaranteed to go on and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, because that Chiefs team last season in that Super Bowl had a chip on their shoulder that looked like an unbeatable team that night.
They were scary.
I think we saw like a glimpse of what maybe could have happened in the first quarter of this game that happened this last week. What could have happened, obviously Brock Purdy, young starter, barely any experience in the league at the time. He was playing good, but that's the Eagles defense that was rocking, really and good. They lost Javon Hargraves in the offseason, who was one of their big pieces in the middle that could move the pocket and move the quarterback and disrupt a lot of things defensively. I
And they also lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
I'm a big Brock Purdy guy, and I'll stand on that till the day I die.
And their defensive coordinator.
But yeah,
and
the
offensive coordinator they brought in this season sucks as well.
Yes.
It's very hard to say that he would have won. Yeah, they would have won.
Brock Purdy's not the only player on that team.
He's the only player.
I hate that dude.
It's just him. It's literally just him. There's nobody else.
He gets such a bigger magnifying glass than I swear any quarterback I've ever seen, and it's disgusting. But anyway.
Can't believe what Dan Orlovsky said about him.
I don't even know if I saw
Dan
that. Dan
Orlovsky's not even allowed to talk. He ran out of the back of the end zone.
Oh, he said that he's got a weak arm.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Small hands,
I also
put the ball wherever the heck he wants. And then you watch him play the game of football, and some of the throws that this man is making, like, get the heck out of here.
It's not true to say he has a weak arm. Hang on. It's not true to say he's got a weak arm. He doesn't, compared to some of like Josh Allen and like the bigger name quarterbacks who have absolute cannons.
Correct, but Josh Allen's not accurate on those throws.
That's what I was about to say is like Brock Purdy can throw it 30 yards down the field accurately. He might not be able to bomb it 70 yards down the field and put it where it needs to go. Yeah. But he doesn't. Their offense doesn't throw that deep balls like that. They don't throw 70-yard Hail Marys. They don't need to be in a situation like he's not going to be like an Aaron Rodgers and have to throw a 70-yard touchdown Hail Mary to win the game.
Most times his shorter throws put his receivers in a better position to make a play anyway, so it just works out.
I think this take is steamy. It's
steamy for sure. It's
hot.
It's hypothetical. It's purely hypothetical because you don't know. We can't go back and see.
It's like the brink of boiling. Right now it's on that like the slow rumble.
It's one of those hot takes.
It's one where you put the lid on, it's gonna overflow. But if you take the lid off, it's gonna.
It's one of those hot takes that is purely opinion. There's no way to know.
Yeah.
There's no way we can see anymore because it was last year. So it's entirely hypothetical. But I did want to float that one by you guys and see what you thought there.
With all that said, Eagles by 40.
This next one, though, is a little more exciting. We talked about it a little bit before we got started. This one, we can see. This one, we did, on that second part, we did have some talks in the media this weekend about that topic. Tyreek Hill will surpass 2,000 yards. That is part of the take. That is not necessarily guaranteed. Will surpass 2,000 yards receiving and enter not only the MVP race, but the wide receiver GOAT race as well. First of all, the 2,000 yards thing, he's on pace for 2,100 as of right now.
He's breaking it.
So he very likely could be the only receiver in NFL history to hit that 2,000 yards. So we'll answer the first question first. Is he going to enter the MVP race?
I think he should have already been in the MVP race, the way that man's been playing. I think he should have already been in the talks of it. I think he should have been in talks over Crucify Me. He should have been in talks over Brock Purdy. I think he should have had more respect. I think it's looked at as a quarterback award that he gets it slept on a lot. And
quarterback and popularity contest is pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
I remember like when we were talking about third of the way through the season, we were talking and the MVPs. We did say Tyreek Hill's name, and
that's why I'm revisiting this one.
I feel like we understand how good of a player he is when he is on the field. Like the amount of impact that he has as a player on the field. He's drawing double covers almost every time. And on top of that, he's running routes that are breaking himself open. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to talk about it because it makes me kind of sad to think about because the Chiefs physically have no receivers that can run a route to get open for any reason.
Let alone catch a football.
And Tyreek just has this innate ability to just get open, run a really good route, and just burn everybody. Like he should have been in talks all year, in my opinion. And Who says a wide receiver can't win the MVP?
I think he's still.
J.J. Watt was second in MVP.
I think they still get punished by the fact that their strength of schedule is abysmal. I mean, you're 31st in the league in that department. Yeah. You just put up a 150-yard game against the Commanders. That's not that much to write home about, but still.
Hey, I'm cool with him doing that. He's on my fantasy team. Homie had 29 fantasy points after one drive.
Jesus. Still, he's having a fantastic season.
72 yards for a touchdown.
He's having a fantastic season. It's hard to discount a guy based on schedule who is putting up 2,000 yards. Tyreek Hill by himself has more wide receiver yards than I think 8 different NFL teams wide receivers combined. Not 8 teams combined, but their wide receivers combined. I think he's ahead of the Patriots, Raiders, Bears. I think I saw Commanders on there.
I think I think Panthers were close.
Either way, he's ahead of all those teams' entirety of their wide receiver rooms in receiving yards. That's impressive regardless of who you're playing. I don't see why he couldn't be in the MVP race. He's not even up there as of right now because they almost never look to this position like we're saying. But I don't see how you don't.
He's on pace to break the receiving record by week 16
by 200 yards as well.
Yeah.
But
and like everyone's like, oh, he has got an extra game. He's doing it before the extra game is played.
I think the reason that the GOAT talk part comes into this is you had Wes Welker bring it up this weekend that Tyreek Hill is better than Randy Moss, which ultimately would put him in the GOAT conversation. Wes Welker's argument for that is that while Randy Moss was an excellent deep threat, that's really all he was for the most part. Tyreek Hill, as Wes Welker said, can run an entire route tree. He can run the whole tree. He can be a deep threat. He can hit his slants. He can run those option routes perfectly. Quarterback always knows where he's going because he's always in sync with his quarterback in terms of reading the defense on those option routes, and he can run those perfectly. I get that.
Oh, Joe's cooking something.
It's tough though.
I wonder where he got all that knowledge from. Wonder who taught him how to read a defense.
Dude, the only reason he's good is because of Patrick Mahomes. How could we not have seen this?
I'm not talking about Patrick Mahomes. I'm talking about Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
The offensive gurus that are on that team, and now look at it. He could go on any team and just be the best player on any team.
Oh my God!
We're talking about Tyreek Hill here. Like, there's no reason this man should not be in the MVP talks. There's no reason.
My take on him in the GOAT talks is he's currently like in the top 3 for receivers today. How can we put him in the top 3 of receivers of all time? You know, that's kind of where I'm at with that.
He's no Calvin Johnson.
There's guys like that. There's guys like prime Julio Jones. You've got all the Jerry Rices and the Randy Mosses.
Julio can stay out of this conversation. He's
why though? You've got what AJ Brown has done recently. You've got Cooper Kupp's record-breaking seasons. I mean, you've got a lot of receivers that have put up stupidly good seasons. Yeah, Tyreek's going to put up a lot of yards this year. He'll probably have that record for a very long time. I don't want to put him in GOAT talks because of one season against a terrible schedule.
Comparing him to NBA, he's going to do exactly what Steph Curry does with a 3-point record and just consistently break it every single year by like 1 or 2.
I don't know. Joe, you look like you're cooking something.
I feel like at the beginning of of his career, people didn't realize that Tyreek could do a bunch of things on the football field that not a lot of other players could.
Yeah. And
I almost put that like put me as a biased Tyreek Hill fan. Fine, whatever. I'm a biased Tyreek Hill fan. What he does on the football field to impact not only his game, but everyone's game around him.
Yeah.
I agree with what Zach said. He's going to be the Steph Curry of the wide receiver position of the current like NFL. Like this guy will go down as one of the best to ever do it. I don't put him in that conversation at this moment, but I do believe that at the end of his career, he will go down as one of the best to ever play the position.
Yeah, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I don't think that should be a question at all.
I don't think this is that hot of a take. The MVP race, obviously not up to us. I think we think he should be at least in the talks. I don't think it's up to us though, so it's a tough one to really gauge where it's going to be at. GOAT talks, I think we're too early.
I think that's where the hot take really, because the 2,000 yard things, I feel like at this point, Sainz will deliver that. He's getting 2,000 yards.
Pump the brakes a little bit on the GOAT talk.
Yeah, I think we're not quite there
yet. Settle down on the GOAT talk.
Texans. Moving on from halfway heaters. Texans broke the Broncos streak this weekend, as I said they would. With the wild win at home. Late goal line interception seals that one. Tank Dell goes out. CJ Stroud still gets it done, baby. Broncos, like I said, lose a turnover battle for the first time since week 6. Lost that turnover battle 0-3. The Broncos are undefeated when they force 3 or more turnovers. I said the Texans would not give up the ball a single time, and they did not, and they won this game. And that was easily the difference in this one. CJ Stroud, 274 yards and a touchdown. Tank Dell goes down for the season with an ankle injury. Like I said, that sucks. We'll see how CJ Stroud adapts to that going forward. It's pretty undeniable that this dude should be in the MVP talks if he continues to ball out without his number one guy that was a rookie wide receiver. So we'll see how
in the first quarter and he still balled out.
We'll see how that continues to go.
274 one touchdown isn't in my opinion balling.
Not necessarily, no.
Hey, you gotta at least get over 302. Come on now.
When you're running for your life because your offensive line is literally atrocious.
So was Brock Purdy all game. Anyway, Texans have won 4 of their last 5 games, but they're still back a game and a half from the Jaguars, who play very soon. Do the Texans make the playoff?
Sorry, I'm looking for who asked about Brock Purdy.
I did. Do the Texans make the playoff?
I'm gonna say it. I think you see 3 teams in the AFC South make the playoffs, and it's disgusting. I hate it.
No shot. Put that in your halfway heaters.
Put that in your halfway heaters.
Texans,
Jags, Colts. They're all 3 good teams. I'm saying
shot.
I say it. I said it, Joe. I said it. What are you gonna do about it? I said it. You want me to sign a document saying I said it? I will. I'll do exactly what I do to you guys when we're on podcast and say Isaac Carroll.
Okay, but Joe, he's got a decent point. Because the Texans, Colts,
that division looks.
If the Texans, Colts, and Jags keep handling their terrible schedules, they don't even play each other anymore. I think like one of them might play each other one more time. But if they keep handling their not so good schedules, I think they finish with better records than the Steelers, Browns, and Bengals. I think they finish with better records than the Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders. And I think they finish with better records than the Bills, Jets, and Patriots. At that point, you can't keep them out.
Right now, all 3 of them are in the playoffs. Jags are the 3, Texans are the 8, and Colts are the 7.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's only top 7, isn't it? It's
top 7. It's top 7.
So yeah,
so Texans are just out right now.
I guess they're a game and a half out.
But they get that wild card spot if the Steelers keep losing. They just went down Kenny Pickett. The Browns went down Deshaun Watson.
I mean, and the Browns. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I hate that take, but it's stupidly possible.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
It's awful.
I never want to see 3 AFC South teams.
I don't think anybody does
in the playoff. No.
But hey, if they win their football games, they belong.
Jake Browning, please win some ball games. Justin Herbert, please win some ball games.
Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
Josh Allen,
literally stop. Please stop sucking.
You might not want to see those teams in the playoff, but if they win their football games, that's all that matters, baby. And that's why I love the NFL.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Win your games.
I mean, the Bengals are automatically out. Joe Burrow's gone. They're not a good team anymore.
They lost their quarterback.
Jake Browning. Watch Jake Browning, bro. Watch Jake Browning.
The whole AFC North. The whole AFC North is out.
The whole AFC North.
They lost their quarterbacks.
Except for Lamar.
They lost their quarterbacks, so they're not football teams anymore.
still there. The other 3, get them out of there.
They can't be football teams.
Joe, trust me, I wish I didn't have to say that because I don't know why, but there's something
You're
about me.
making me sick, bro. Stop.
There's something about me. I hate the Colts. I don't know why. I just hate.
Speaking
the
of
Colts.
losing their quarterbacks, did you guys see that the Jets asked Zach Wilson to step back into the starting job, and he told them no? That's awesome.
Honestly, I respect it because
I do too. They treated that situation terribly,
and he didn't. He play well, obviously, but he's got nothing.
He's got nothing around him going at all.
He's got nothing good, and he didn't play terrible. He won a game. No,
he played in the situation he's in.
He won games. Give him some respect. I mean, it's fine. Aaron Rodgers is going to be back after Christmas somehow, and then the Jets are going to be the best team in the NFL.
He might not play if they're not going to be.
If they're not competing, it's not worth it. Just recover.
That's the rumors and the rumblings about Jets. Now, I feel bad for Zach Wilson, man.
He wasn't supposed to be there.
Personally,
he wasn't supposed to be there, and he got thrown in 47 seconds into the season. It sucks. Obviously, adapt. That's what you're supposed to do, but he was supposed to sit there and learn from one of the best, and he didn't get that opportunity, and that sucks because he might not be with the Jets after this season. And that sucks to see because he never got that opportunity to shadow under Aaron Rodgers. And
the amount of hope people back home can talk to this. The amount of hope I had for the Jets when Zach Wilson came into the league was actually absurd. Because I understand he played at BYU, whatever. But I was like, he's going to be so solid. He's going to come in. He's going to turn this Jets team around. He's a franchise quarterback. They had the running backs coming in. They had the defense stacked up. And I was just like, they're going to be solid. And then they just flopped. And I was like,
I would like to point out once again that Zach Wilson's best game of football this season came when Donna Kelsey was in the booth. Zach, let's talk about the Lions. Lions.
Honestly, I'm 100% down to skip this.
Lions survive a Saints comeback in an impressive bounce back win like we said they would. They covered that 3.5 points. Parlay party, baby.
Settle that down. Impressive is absurd.
We can forget about that game. We can skip that game talk. The Lions are now just 2 wins away from clinching the NFC North for the first time technically ever, because it was not the NFC North.
Central.
But technically for the first time since 1993. With the upcoming schedule of the Bears and Broncos, do they get it done as soon as the next 2 weeks?
Probably not.
Why are you so low on this Lions team, Zach?
Dude, their defense sucks.
It hasn't been the best lately, but you're middle of the season right now. This is where the winning teams come out. This is where the toughest football is played. Everyone is at their peak right now. This is where every team gets tested. This is where you have to battle through, and this is when you harden yourself for the playoffs.
They've been tested the last 4 weeks. Can we just get a blowout? Good Lord.
That's not how it works at this point in the season. The Chiefs just lost to the Packers. The Eagles just took a beating to the chin at home. This is middle of the season NFL football. There's nothing to hang your head on with any win you get going forward.
Bro, we had no turnovers and turned them over twice and still almost blew a 21-point lead. It took us until the 3-minute mark. We're supposed to we have the most explosive offense, like the 20-plus yards. The Lions have the most explosive plays in the NFL. They have a top 5 offense. They have a top 3 rush game. They have a top 5 rush game, and I think top 3 pass game. And it's 21-0. We turn them over twice. That's the only reason we won that game. If Derek Carr doesn't run into his guard,
when you're playing,
they lose this game.
When you're playing the gauntlet of Taysom Hill, Derek Carr, and Jameis Winston, that's a tough game to win, baby.
Dude, I hate Taysom Hill.
That's a tough game to win.
I was sitting there. I was like, Taysom Hill's he's at quarterback. He's going to take this ball and run it up the middle. Sure enough, 4 straight plays right up the middle. Taysom Hill, 7 yards, 8 yards, 15 yards. And it's like, what the
I love
heck is going on?
I love how the announcers kept getting frustrated when they would take Taysom Hill out of the game. But then every time they took Taysom Hill out of the game, they did good. Both times the announcers complained about it, like, oh, keep him in. Alvin Kamara scored a touchdown on both times they said that. Like, what are we even doing?
The two turnovers is a big reason they won. The other big reason they won is because Derek Carr got hurt.
Yeah, to a degree.
Jameis Winston came in and he had Chris Olave open for a touchdown and then overthrew him. And then he had Chris Olave on a comeback on like a 4th and 6 or something like that. And then threw it to like the inside and Olave went outside.
What about Jared Goff's big play at the end of the game to keep him alive and give him the chance to kneel it out? What do you mean, whatever? You're a more battle-tested team after this weekend. I'm trying to stay on the positive side of this, Zach.
Dude, we almost lost to the freaking Bears.
You didn't.
Somehow. You did turnovers in that game.
Exactly. No turnovers this game.
No turnovers this game, and we almost lost to Derek Carr when they had 2 turnovers.
But a win's a win. No turnovers. You can look at like Jared Goff not turning the ball over. That's good. That's like if he can continue to not do that, they can continue to win ball games, regardless of the defense not playing, great. They don't have to play great. They just have
not playing good.
They just have They're not playing good.
They're not playing good.
They can play okay. Okay.
What they have been doing is not okay. It's not good. It's dog. It's dog.
Amen.
It's garbage. They are bad. Aaron Glenn is bad.
That's a W.
That's a dub.
That's a W, and that's all I know.
Whatever, dude.
Let's talk
NFC North title.
Obviously, that's a cakewalk. They're gonna clinch it in the next 2 weeks.
About the game in the Link on Sunday afternoon. The 49ers went in. They stood on business. And they took it to the Eagles.
Bro, DK.
In the Link.
Savage.
Dude, that's cool. Anyway.
The fact that he learned sign language to talk
49ers firing on all cylinders this weekend. 48 quarterback pressures is monstrous. Christian McCaffrey, 93 yards and a touchdown. Debo had 116 yards, 3 total touchdowns. Brock Purdy had 314 yards, 4 touchdowns himself. Let's talk about the Dre Greenlaw ejection. I want to talk about that first because what even went on there?
That whole situation.
That security guard should never be on an NFL sideline again. Never.
Nope.
You are a sideline employee. You should have no business putting your hands in the face of a player on the field.
That's what I was like. That's where I was going to go with it too. And I'm pretty sure that's something along the lines of what Kyle Shanahan said last night post game. He's like, I don't understand how a person who has no meaning, no effect on the game can do that.
Can have that big of an effect on the game.
Why is he even 2 feet away from the field? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is he even a foot away from the dude should be if anywhere, just on the back wall watching everything, paying attention.
That's what he's there for, for fan security, not.
I think he was also the guy that's supposed to hold back. What's his face? Yeah. I think he's the guy that's also supposed to be like, hey, you're too get back, get back. I think he's also
you gotta find a new get back guy.
I think he's the get back guy.
I think he's a money laundering scheme. If you look at his official position.
I think without that, that lit a fire under the Eagles and the 49ers, but it
should have made the ending a lot more exciting than it was.
It lit more of a fire under the 49ers.
The 49ers
was pissed.
Yeah, the 49ers really just laid it on them after that. So
yeah,
that was interesting.
The impact that Dre Greenlaw has on the game
is crazy.
Is so to have him as a second linebacker. To our boy, oh fuck! Why can't I remember?
Fred Warner.
Warner. I had it and then I lost it. Fred Warner. Sorry for the swear word as well.
That's all right.
But Dre Greenlaw is the perfect complement to Fred Warner.
Yeah.
He hits hard. He reads plays. He just was finishing a play. Yeah, I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna defend the defender here. He was just finishing the play.
Oh yeah, it wasn't not that bad. Was it against the technicalities of the rule book? Yes, but it was not that bad.
You're not supposed to slam the guy, but he was just finishing the play.
Yes.
Not in WWE.
Gosh.
Yeah, the suplex is against the literal technicality of the rule book.
Yeah.
So obviously you can't do that. But for your security manager to be starting a fight, that's disgusting. Do we see the Eagles boosted their linebacker room to match the 49ers a little bit today? Shaq Leonard going to Philadelphia.
I did see that.
Stole him.
That's exciting.
Stole
That's
him
exciting.
from the Cowboys right before they play the Cowboys. That's huge. I want to talk about the Eagles.
Dude, I'm excited for that game.
The Eagles' one screaming issue in this game as I have told you guys all season, they cannot score in the red zone. Heading into this game, they had actually been on a 3-game pretty good stretch of scoring in the red zone, but they couldn't this game. They got in the red zone twice on their first 2 drives of the game. Should have realistically, if they were converting at the rate they were converting at last year, been up 14-0 really early in this game. In the link, that's an insurmountable lead. It just is.
Unless you're the Detroit Lions.
Instead, you go up 6-0 on 2 field goals. I'm sorry, even at home, you lose momentum in a situation like that, especially when your 2 stalled out drives are answered by a touchdown and then a 3-and-out and then another touchdown.
The 49ers aren't a team that you can just kick field goals against.
No, you've got to put them down.
That's bad coaching on Nick Sirianni's part. Like it was a 4th and 2, and I think a 4th and 3.
Mm-hmm. You've got to convert those.
You've got to go. You've got to go for those.
Because here's the thing: while I have supreme faith in Brock Purdy, he's still young. He is basically still a rookie if you're playing Ben Simmons rules, and you get him down 14-0 in that uncomfortable of a situation. Who knows how he responds to that? We've never seen him respond to a situation like that. You've got to capitalize on that. Exactly.
With how good the Eagles defense is, they have all the momentum. They have everything going.
Exactly.
That crowd's going to be bumping.
You have to capitalize on that, and the Eagles just couldn't. That is where this game comes down to, because if you look at this game statistically, it's an identical game. Yards the same, rush yards the same, defensive statistics the same, turnovers the same, time of possession the same, everything down to penalties was the same. Red zone efficiency is where this game comes down to.
I was going to say, Brock Purdy, quarter 1, 2 3-and-outs, had no answer.
You had him on the ropes.
Took him to the second quarter with 12 minutes to actually have a completion in that game.
Didn't even look like he really knew what he was doing out on the football field at that time.
You had him on the ropes.
The Eagles were screaming at him, and the run game wasn't working the way, McCaffrey wasn't getting going, and Debo wasn't getting open yet. As soon as that second quarter hit, and they were down 6, and the Eagles were driving, and I agree, that has been the problem all year. The red zone efficiency. They have not been once they get inside the 20-yard line, they have not been able to score touchdowns. And I agree. If you can't put up touchdowns against this Niners defense, good luck beating them.
Good luck. I mean, they're too tough of a team. Red zone efficiency and explosive plays have been non-existent for the Eagles this year. And that comes down to new offensive coordinator Brian Johnson. He has not been able to get anything going with one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. It is ridiculous. The deep play threats you have in A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, the open field threat you have in A.J. Brown, and you don't have the right schemes to get him going, develop anything. I mean, look at how Kyle Shanahan is able to get his receivers into open positions by knowing how defenses work, by exploiting how defenses work. And obviously his receivers play a big part in that too. You've got very smart guys in that room that know how to play off of each other as well. But you've got guys in open space all the time. How can Brian Johnson not do that with the weapons that the Philadelphia Eagles have? It's crazy to me. DeAndre Swift should be the best open field target in the NFL. That dude is so fast. He's so shifty. He knows how to make things work.
He's very good. As a Lions fan and having him for years, he's a very good receiving back.
Yeah.
Very good at it.
And he
has his times where he drops the ball, but if he catches the ball, he can make people miss.
You just can't get those explosive plays going, and it's bewildering to me. It doesn't make sense.
They need to take a trip to Miami and take the Miami playbook and just hand it to Nick Sirianni and just be like, do this.
It just does not make sense to me that
before we move on, I got flamed in the comments for my Deebo Samuel MVP thing. One thing I want to clear up, I'm not saying Deebo's MVP of the league. Settle down, everybody. Deebo Samuel is one of the most valuable players on that team, and this game showed it. When he's healthy, he is the most valuable player on that offense. It opens up the whole offense. It gets Brandon Ayuk open. When he starts cooking, they start looking to him more, and then Christian McCaffrey gets open.
It gets George Kittle open big time. When Debo was gone, George Kittle had like 4 targets in 3 games.
Settle down. Settle down.
When Debo was out of the lineup,
I got cooked.
George Kittle,
Joe, but I got flamed in comments on the Brock Purdy video. Absolutely flamed.
When Debo was out for those 3 games, George Kittle saw like 4 targets. And look what he's done in the past, 3 weeks now? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? 2 or 3 weeks that Debo has been back. Look what he's done. It's insane.
Call me crazy.
Technically, I said that about Debo first, to be fair, but whatever.
Yeah, but then you backtracked on it, and you're just like, it's Brock Purdy.
Because Brock Purdy is still making the plays he needs to make for this team to win.
Jimmy G did the same thing.
Before we move on to Parlay Party. No, he didn't.
Not the same rate, but he still won games.
Not even close. Jimmy G's a 3rd stringer on the Raiders. Anyway, before we move on to Parlay Party, I had this conversation with a coworker today about like CJ Stroud versus Brock Purdy, and what I said with the two is they're both in the perfect systems for their respected play styles. Brock 100%. Purdy is perfect for Shanahan's system because he's a very, very intelligent quarterback that can play off of that system and can make extra things work that a lot of quarterbacks can't make just with the reads that he makes and with how accurate his arm is. CJ Stroud is in the perfect system for CJ Stroud because CJ Stroud just gets to go out and play his brand of football. The Texans let him go out and just lead that team. He gets freedom there to do what he is good at doing on a football field, and it works tremendously. I think if you flip the 2 roles, I don't think Brock Purdy does nearly as good with the Texans. I don't think CJ Stroud does good in Shanahan's system because they're 2 completely different quarterbacks. That's my argument there is yes, Brock Purdy looks great in Shanahan's system, but I also think Brock Purdy is currently in this league the best quarterback for Shanahan's system. And I think Shanahan would say the same thing.
I think in terms of MVP, which is what we've been talking about a lot with Brock Purdy recently, the reason he's not in it over like CJ Stroud is because CJ Stroud has the weapons compared. You compare the weapons, you compare, say strength schedule, I don't care. Like, I understand that argument, but like the Texans were supposed to be that team that people looked at and were like, we're beating this team by 20, 30 points. And they are currently the 8th seed in the playoffs, a game and a half behind, 2 games above 500, and they were meant to win literally maybe 3 games going into this year. And it's because of what CJ Stroud has done. That is why I still think CJ Stroud is ahead of Brock Purdy. And I especially think that if the Texans somehow win their division, which it's not far-fetched.
It's decently
What do you want, Joe?
far-fetched.
What do you want? What do you want, Joe?
I just want to say one thing real quick.
What do you want? What do you want?
I think CJ Stroud is having a great season. I agree with everything that Ethan said. I agree with everything that Zach said, except for this
here we go.
Except for this one thing. I would just like to point out, and I don't think you hear this enough, and I don't think Ethan says it enough about this man. He is first in every statistical category.
Every one of them.
As a quarterback in the league this year.
Except time I say yards, passing touchdowns. His QBR is no longer first anymore. I'm just going to throw that out.
I'm pretty sure
that
it
out
is.
there. Dak Prescott.
It is first.
He put a 148.8 up this game.
I think Dak Prescott has it.
No, he doesn't.
That's not true.
Also, Zach, Brock Purdy is now one of like 5 total quarterbacks in NFL history to put up 4+ 140 passer rating games in one season.
Okay, Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott are tied at 75.6. They're tied. His rating is number 1.
Brock Purdy
that's what I was saying. His rating.
I'm saying his every stat is not the best. His touchdowns aren't. His touchdowns, he's not even in.
Brock Purdy also still plays consistently against the best teams in the NFL. Dak Prescott does not.
I hate the strength of schedule argument. To me is just so stupid. I think that because by that logic, then Alabama should have been in the playoffs, and it shouldn't have been Florida State. It's the same argument because Alabama plays harder. Alabama plays in the SEC.
That is just you assuming that the SEC is a better conference than the ACC.
They played Georgia. They played Texas. They
played Georgia in the championship game. They lost to Texas.
Florida State didn't have the harder strength of schedule. Alabama had the harder strength of schedule.
Florida State played higher ranked teams and beat them by more.
The strength of schedule argument, I think, is just stupid. I don't think that should play a role into team stats, because if you look at it, if we want to do strength of schedule, Brock Purdy against the worst defenses, Minnesota, Buffalo, or not Buffalo, Cincinnati, and whoever else they lost to in that third game, he did not play well.
The other team they lost to would be the Browns, which is the best defense in the NFL.
Browns have not as of late.
When they played them,
they just got skunked by not skunked, but they just got dookied on by the Rams. But the Minnesota Vikings have one of the worst defenses in the league. And
Garrett
so do the
is
Bengals.
out right now, is he not? So
I think so.
I mean,
yep, Myles Garrett is out.
Okay,
and the Bengals are not a bad defense either.
Yes, they are. They're statistically one of the worst defenses in the league. I don't like how this just does. I thought this was going to do team defense. But
either way, yes, Joe, Brock Purdy is statistically the number one quarterback in almost every single category in the NFL.
But he's not.
But he is.
In yards right now, I just switched it. He's 7, and then touchdowns, he was 4th. CJ Stroud's ahead of him in yards and touchdowns. Both. He's 2 behind him in touchdowns.
What's his yardage per completion? What's his
Brock Purdy's number 1 in average. He's ahead by a yard ahead of Tua. CJ Stroud is 3. Yards per game.
Brock Purdy is first.
Yards per game. Brock Purdy is. I have no idea what's going on here. It says 0, 1, 3, 4, 2.
I do not care about total yards of a quarterback. I care about a quarterback's ability to deliver where he is asked to deliver. Passer rating, he is first. Completion percentage, he is first. Touchdowns per attempt, he is first. Yards per attempt, he is first. Yards per completion, he is first. Air yards per attempt, he is first. Accuracy on 25-plus yard in the air throws, he is first. He delivers where a quarterback needs to deliver.
You will not hear me argue that. You will not hear me say any. No,
he's above CJ Stroud in MVP talks.
Makes complete sense
to me. He's number 1 in 6 statistical categories, my guy.
CJ Stroud is doing this as a rookie with a rookie wide receiver being his number 1, and then a Nico Collins who, have you heard of him beforehand? Probably not.
Yes. He's a rookie, by the way. It's hard to put
Nico Collins.
Tank Dallas. Sorry, Tank Dallas.
Tank Dallas is a rookie who was projected to not do this at all, what he has done.
But he is. Projections don't mean anything when they are putting out on-field success.
I don't understand how you guys don't see this offense and see how impressive what CJ Stroud is doing.
Okay, let me flip that on you.
Hang on. No. He's also one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the NFL.
So is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's line comparison is
next to nothing.
Okay, the stats also don't make any sense. Jalen Hurts was pressured apparently 48 times last night. Brock Purdy was running for his life just as many times, and they say Brock Purdy was only pressured 11 times.
Brock Purdy is the 21st sack quarterback in the league.
Because he doesn't take sacks, because he improvises and he makes things happen.
6th.
Because he improvises and he makes things happen.
So you're going to tell me
Guess what? CJ Stroud's pass blocking offensive line is better than Brock Purdy's. The 49ers ranked 28th in pass blocking. 28th.
There is no shot.
28th.
They have one of the best O-lines in the league.
They rank 28th in pass blocking. It does not show. Watch Brock Purdy run for his life every play of every game.
Literally every single play have half of a second to throw a football.
Zach, I am genuinely starting to believe you do not actually watch 49ers games.
I watched the entire Eagles game. I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback. I think you guys disrespect what.
Neither of us are disrespecting CJ Stroud, though.
He is literally. CJ Stroud is literally what Joe thought Justin Fields was.
I don't think he's
doing what you guys thought Justin Fields.
But here's the thing:
he is doing exactly that. He has a bad offensive line, 0 weapons, no run game, a bad defense, and he is literally putting up almost 5,000.
Neither of us
put up 5,000 yards.
Neither of us are disrespecting CJ Stroud, though. You know who I think the best 2 quarterbacks in the league are right now? Brock Purdy and CJ Stroud. I think
To
Brock
say that
Purdy
he's
and CJ
below
Stroud.
Brock Purdy is disrespectful.
Oh, Zach.
He's got. Hang on, stop. Look at the weapon. Look at the comparison here. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Jordan
That
Kittle.
doesn't
Stop.
matter.
Yes, it does.
No,
It's
it
the
does
exact-
not. Because if
it's the
Brock
same
Purdy
thing
is
as-
not on that field, those players are not putting up the numbers they're putting up.
Those players before Brock Purdy were still really good receivers.
Yes,
and really
good,
tight ends
sure.
And really good running backs in
If
the league.
Brock Purdy is not
They're
the
still
quarterback,
Christian McCaffrey was still a 1,200-yard rusher every single
and
year.
I'm not saying he wasn't.
Deebo Samuel was still an 1,000-yard receiver. Hang on. Listen to this. Listen to Nico Collins' stats the first 2 years. He had 446 yards whole season, 481 yards whole season. This year, in not half as many games. I did this 2 weeks ago now. 776 yards, 5 touchdowns compared to 3 total in his first 2 years. And this is in 10 games. This is 10 games, excuse me, not 13 or 12. This is in 10 games. He has more receptions, more targets, more yards by over 300. Nico Collins, this is without a run game, with a terrible defense compared to the 49ers defense. The weapon comparison is literally not comparable. You saying that the projections mean nothing in this don't make sense.
So
saying
pause.
that with Nico Collins, it doesn't make sense.
So
Nico
pause.
Collins was not meant to be a good receiver. Tank Dell was not meant to be
All
as
right,
good as he
all right.
was. Devin
So
Singletary
what you're
is
saying-
nowhere near Christian McCaffrey.
Stop. Because that's where you're wrong. No, you are taking what these guys were projected to be and you are using that as your basis of what they are. That's not how this works.
Because of
stop
CJ
it.
Stroud.
Stop it. You cannot be the louder voice right now. Devin Singletary.
read the stats.
Devin Singletary is the most efficient running back in the entirety of the NFL against a stacked box. He is. Look at the numbers. He is the most efficient. He is. That is a stat. He is the most efficient running back in the NFL against a stacked box. That means when there are more defenders on the defensive line than there
I know
are
what a stacked box
blockers,
means.
I'm just saying it. I'm just reiterating it. He is the number one back in the NFL. Guess what Christian McCaffrey does
comparing
against
that
a
one
stacked
stat
box?
compared to what
He
Christian
averages
McCaffrey does in its
1.4
entirety
yards
doesn't
per
make sense.
carry against a stacked
Comparing
box.
that one stat,
So without-
one stat compared to what Christian
So without
McCaffrey's
Christian
impact does,
McCaffrey's offensive line opening up gaping holes for him, what's he do? 1.5 yards per carry? That's it.
that's one stat.
Correct.
That's one stat.
But you can't say
That's it.
that
That's
Singletary
literally
doesn't
it.
compare to McCaffrey in any way, shape, or form when he does.
He does not. Christian McCaffrey is consistently
He is
putting up
doing-
1,000 yards a season, 10 plus touchdowns, plus his receiving ability, plus his ability to run block or his pass block.
He is having a
It's
winning
not-
impact on his team, just like McCaffrey is. Your other argument there is that CJ Stroud is elevating his
that's
teammates.
crazy.
Your other thing there was that CJ Stroud is
Yes.
elevating his teammates. He elevated Nico Collins by about 10%. Great. Look at what Brock
300
Purdy.
yards, 4 touchdowns in
Look at what
6
Brock
less
Purdy has
games.
done. I would beg to differ, and I would argue if you looked at it statistically, Brock Purdy has elevated his weapons even more than that. Look at
400,
numbers.
300 plus yards,
I am just
4
saying.
plus touchdowns as
You
a
do-
rookie with a bad offensive line.
You do a
I'm
lot
not-
of disrespecting to Brock Purdy when this dude has only.
Brock Purdy's still good. I think it's disrespectful to CJ Stroud to not say that he's higher than Brock Purdy in MVP contests. This was a team that was meant to win 3-4 games this whole season, and they're 7-5 right now.
Win projections don't do anything for the MVP talks.
It's the same thing that we were talking about with Colorado at the beginning of the season with why Coach Prime is still a good coach. They were meant to win 2 games and they won the first 3.
That's a coaching
It's the
job,
same
though.
thing.
That's a whole different thing. That is a coaching job.
It's
And that's an NFL team.
Let's compare team to team.
That's an
Let's
NFL team versus a college
let's just
football
co-
team. That's apples to oranges right there.
Let's compare team to team. Which team has a more stacked roster?
The 49ers, that doesn't
Literally
matter.
Head and shoulders above it.
They're a bigger market.
Brock Purdy, again, basically as a rookie, Ben Simmons' role just went into the link and put up 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. He did what he needed to do.
2 of those touchdowns.
Congratulations, yards after catch.
8
That's
yards.
1 game. What has he done the rest of the season? Did you see the
just
Seahawks
compared
game?
one-
Did you see the Seahawks game?
Yes, I am aware.
Did
that
you
he
see
is
his
still-
throw to Brandon Ayuk?
I am aware of this.
Did
but
you
2 of
see
his
how
touchdowns were
conservative they
46
played that game? That throw to Brandon Ayuk, that was supposed to
I gotta
be
shut that off.
That throw to Brandon Ayuk, that was supposed to be a 12-yard slant. That was designed, Kyle Shanahan's system, that was designed to be a short, shallow slant into that zone, into that deep zone. Instead, Brock Purdy said, nope. I know I can hit this window. Of 4 guys, I can hit this window. And he did on a dime.
When we were talking last season and on last
there are maybe 1 or 2 other quarterbacks in the league that deliver that throw. Maybe.
Hang on. Sure. Maybe. That's probably not true because there's a lot of accurate quarterbacks in the league. Let's step back. Let's step back to last season when we were talking about Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs when he threw the 10-yard slant to Tyreek Hill and then he outran everybody to the end zone. You and I both said that was Tyreek Hill.
Correct.
You and I both said that Patrick Mahomes was getting overrated in that game. That's exactly what just happened this last game. Deebo Samuel took a 8-yard slant, 46 yards, outran the team. And then he also took another, I think this was a little bit longer, like a 12-yard in route, and then took that all the way to the end zone.
Was that slant in the Super Bowl? The Tyreek slant? Are we talking Super Bowl here? What are we talking?
This was AFC
championship game
against the Bills. Yes, to get in with the 13 second. And then Brock Purdy's third touchdown was a 8-yard out route where Brandon Ayuk, I can't think of the receiver's name, broke a tackle, spun around, ran another 15 yards to the end zone. So 3 of those touchdowns right there, that's a 46-yard of, I think it was like a 34 or 5 yard, something like that, to the other Deebo one, and then an 8-yard out route for I think it was a 25-yard touchdown. That's 3 touchdowns right there were all yards after catch. And I told
you before this episode, it took till week 13 for you to be able to make the yards after catch argument.
I understand that, but you were just saying that he played so well. But then when we did it with Patrick Mahomes, you were saying that it wasn't Patrick Mahomes, it was Tyreek Hill. But now you're flipping it and saying it's Brock Purdy.
Let's look. I'm not saying that's all Brock Purdy. Deebo absolutely wins MVP of this game. Cool. But either way, let's look. Brock Purdy still delivered the ball where it needed to be, just like Patrick Mahomes did in that game. Let's look at 2 plays. Did you see the option route to Christian McCaffrey that really opened up this game offensively? It was that play that got the 49ers rolling. They scored their first touchdown on that drive. Do you know which route I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, their second drive in the second quarter or something like that?
Yes. Now listen to Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey talk about that sequence, and they will both say that drive is all Brock Purdy. That route was not designed like that. Brock Purdy pulled Christian McCaffrey aside on the sideline before this drive started. They knew they were going to run this play, and he modified the route with McCaffrey. That is why Brock Purdy was able to deliver that ball before McCaffrey even made his break. And he delivered that ball perfectly. That's all Purdy.
He's a great quarterback, and I'm not going to.
Third quarter game is still close.
Will do that.
Third quarter game is still close. 3rd and 11. You've got the route where Brandon Ayuk is way off on the right side of the field. Brock Purdy is on the opposite hash, about 10 yards back, being chased. Off of his back foot, that dude throws the ball in the air about 35 yards on a rope to Ayuk right at the first down marker for a first down. Kept that drive going. 49ers score on that drive. They're up 2 scores. They never looked back. Those are 2 plays I look at in this game. Was this Brock Purdy's game? No, this was Deebo's game 100%. But those 2 plays were tide-turning plays.
And so was the 3 touchdown plays that they had.
The 3 touchdown plays, I'm saying, are a result of those plays opening up drives. If Brock Purdy doesn't make that play on that 3rd and 11, that drive stalls out. And
was their first touchdown drive.
We're not
the
talking
Deebo Samuel,
about
the 40.
I'm saying is those
that opened up
those
other
Deebo
drives,
plays never happen if Brock Purdy does not make those plays. They were down 6-0 when he made that first one. It was only a 5-point game when he made that second one.
The 48-yard touchdown was before the other play.
No, it wasn't. It was 6-0 still when he made that throw to McCaffrey.
The McCaffrey one, but the Brandon Ayuk one, the 48-yard one, and the other deep one had already happened at that point.
Correct. And it was only a 5-point game when that Ayuk one happened. That drive stalls out. The Eagles get the ball back only down 5 at home if that throw never happens, is what I'm saying. That is breaking off of that. And what I'm saying is Brock Purdy is delivering where he needs to deliver.
Yes,
in the toughest environment in the NFL.
But the
Maybe.
other thing, that,
Arrowhead is pretty tough.
He does have he has these top stats like the completion percentage, QBR, but like it's barely. Like there were three other quarterbacks that are literally 0.1 behind it.
That's
first full season as a starting
I hate that argument because
it's CJ Stroud's literal first ever time stepping onto an NFL field.
I mean,
Brock Purdy is number one against Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. The list goes on. Zachary.
CJ Stroud also has better stats than those guys.
I'm not saying he's not good. CJ Stroud is great. I'm just saying
Zach,
that
you
Brock
know I'm going
Purdy
to clip this again.
more for his team.
That's fine.
Brock Purdy is doing more for his team than Jimmy Garoppolo ever did. One.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I don't care.
Two, it's just he's the perfect quarterback for Kyle Shanahan. Was Jimmy Garoppolo putting out 300 yards in a game?
He probably did it a couple times.
Oh,
maybe. I kind of doubt that though.
In his 3-4 year stint in San Francisco, maybe 5 total games.
Brock Purdy's doing that every game.
What was their total offensive stats? They were still number 1, 2, 3 in offense total, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
What were the Texans last year offensively?
That's last year.
Dead last.
That's last year.
And now they're a top 5 offense and top 7 offense in the league.
We're talking about
they're also a significantly
CJ Stroud. That's it.
They're also a significantly better defense.
A brand new head coach.
Zach, I want to say the toughest environment that CJ Stroud has played in is in Baltimore, and they got blown out. Brock Purdy in back-to-back weeks has blown out the Eagles and the Seahawks on the road.
Seattle is not that good anymore. They're not the
that
team
is the loudest stadium in the NFL.
Sure, okay, but what did he do against Minnesota and the
You're
Bengals?
Going back to when
You just went back to 2 other games too.
You're going back to when he had no weapons whatsoever.
CJ Stroud without weapons still is winning.
He has weapons though. You are taking the players he has and you're comparing them to what they were, not what they are.
What they are is because of CJ Stroud.
What they are is playing a freaking 24th ranked strength of schedule in the NFL. It does matter. You're playing poor defenses.
When they also are a terrible team. They're still not good. Their defense is not good. Their offensive line is not good. They are good because CJ Stroud is making plays. And then, yes, they have other guys stepping up. But the thing is like the 49ers still have the best defense, one of the best defenses in the league.
I'd argue they have the best defense in the league.
Exactly. So if some of the games that they have, like this game, if their defense doesn't play as well as they do, we saw last year what the 49ers can do or the Eagles can do to them. Obviously, I'm pushing it back to last year, and we talked about it. It's hard to compare the games, whatever. I understand that. But what their defense has done is it's a night and day difference between their defense and the Texans defense. The Texans defense are still giving up some of the most points in the NFL, and CJ Stroud is keeping up with that.
Okay, we need to move on to Parlay Party because it's been about 30 minutes now. We need to move on to Parlay Party. So I have one more question for you, Zach. I'm curious about this one and have been for a little bit. What are your thoughts on Kurt Warner?
Kurt Warner's one of the top quarterbacks all time.
Yeah, he is, right? What team did he play for?
Yeah.
The greatest show on turf. Kurt Warner played on the greatest show on turf, and you just said he's a top quarterback of all time.
Look at what he did. He won Super Bowls, he won games, and then he
Brock
went
Purdy's
to the Cardinals.
Right there.
He went to the Cardinals and did the same thing. I'm not saying Brock Purdy's not a great quarterback. I'm just not saying he's above CJ Stroud and MVP. That's all I'm saying. I think if we do, I don't think he's top 5. I think it's
in the
Patrick
same
Mahomes, Lamar. I think it's
you just in the same
Dak
sentence
Prescott, CJ Stroud, and Tyreek Hill.
You just in the same sentence said
not in that order.
That Brock Purdy is a great quarterback, but he's not above a guy who is like 11th in MVP odds.
Which is, I think we can all agree here that that's disrespectful to CJ Stroud.
I think so too. But I also think.
And if you look at it, Kurt Warner in the MVP odds was also never super high up there. He won what, 2, 1?
Yeah, he won, I think, 2, and he won 2 Super Bowl MVPs as well. Right? Did
One.
I want you to listen
Okay,
to this.
okay.
Listen to this. So the Buccaneers have a terrible offense. Yes or no? Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. They got put up 37 points on them. Probably the most. I don't know this off for sure.
What game is this? What are we talking about?
I'm looking at this is 4 weeks ago. This is the first game I saw that it was a bad offense. So the Jaguars, good offense, 24 points against Cardinals, 16 points, Bengals, 27 points. This is before Joe Burrow got hurt. And then you go back one more week after that. The Buccaneers put up 37 points on the Texans. Probably hadn't done that all season because the Bucs suck on offense. They had literally going against Detroit, they had the worst rush offense in the league, and I think they still do. 37 points. CJ Stroud put up 39. Texans put up 39. Sorry, whatever. I don't like saying that CJ Stroud didn't do it on his own, obviously, but
I just think you're not giving Brock Purdy the flowers that he has earned. And I think there's a lot of people out there not doing that. Let's agree to disagree and get on to Parlay Party.
I don't put him in. He's 6. He's 6 right now in MVPs.
We just filmed a whole podcast on Brock Purdy right there. Let's agree to disagree.
He's 6 in MVP.
And get on to Parlay Party. Parlay Party is where we sit down at the end of the episodes and we build for you guys the ultimate NFL weekly winners parlays. We've got money lines, we've got spreads, we've got over-unders, anything you can think of to put together in a parlay. We're going to give you 5 picks.
Week 1.
We're going to give you guys 5 picks. Yes, the hardest environment he's played at is Baltimore in week 1. He hasn't played in a similar environment since. Anyway, we are 36.
Jacksonville week 3.
Gross. We are 36-25.
You literally were saying last week that he was going to make the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to make him look silly.
Correct. That doesn't mean their environment is that good. You're a Florida-based football team outside of Tom Brady being in your state for a couple years. The environments there are not great. Even the Dolphins, who have arguably one of the best offenses statistically of all time right now, don't put up that great of environments.
Joe Burrow injury.
36-25 is our record right now. We almost hit the parlay this weekend, but the Chiefs, let's get into this. Let's get 5 picks going here. Again, anything is fair game. What's standing out?
Jags, Browns, Ravens, Rams.
Jags, Browns in what way?
Jags -3.
Jags -3. Jags
are you thinking the
Jags
Ravens
are on the road.
-7.5?
Yes.
Ooh.
The Ravens are one of the most dominant teams in the NFL right now.
The Rams have also been looking. They're on a 3-game win streak.
Rams are shaky at times. Puka Nacua, let's hope he's healthy. I don't know if I like Ravens minus
I would take
over a
Ravens
touchdown.
Money line.
I like Ravens money line. Ravens at home money line. That's a safe pick.
What I've been watching the Ravens do to good football teams this year. No, I'm telling you, Ravens are winning by at least 10.
Let's circle back to that one. I really like Ravens Rams over 44.5.
I like the over 44.
But there's defenses here with these two teams also that could make this game a little more ugly. There's a lot of turnovers between these two teams.
Defense is real.
There's a lot of turnovers between these two teams. Let's circle back to that one.
Ravens haven't turned the ball over at all. What do you mean?
Yeah, they have.
That's one of the best teams. That's one of the best teams in the league right now.
What else is standing out?
Period.
Honestly, that was going to be one of the games I say don't touch. It was the Ravens-Rams game.
Period. He says.
Let's look at the last 3 teams that the Rams have played. It's Browns,
without Myles Garrett.
Okay. Browns, someone else. I can't find the Rams on my thing. Browns, Cardinals, obviously that one not good. And then Seattle. And they beat them.
The Rams always play the Seattle Seahawks hard because they're in an interdivision matchup.
Well, the Browns still. I mean, that one's scary.
The Browns defense is garbage right now. They lost Myles Garrett. Don't even start. No, you guys are just being conservative as hell. You guys are conservative as hell. You know what? Fine.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Ravens minus 17 and a or Jesus. Let's go. Let's go. Ravens 7.5. Let's go. 49ers money line. Let's just be safe on the Niners. I like Vikings Raiders under 40.5 points, to be honest.
I was kind of thinking that because I think both offenses are not great.
I don't think there's any points out of those two offenses right now. Joe, what are your thoughts on that one?
Both of their defenses are not very good either.
I can agree with this 40.5.
Under?
Because the Raiders just played the Dolphins a couple weeks back to a pretty low-scoring game, and the Dolphins are one of the better, offensive units in the league.
Let's go under 40.5 in that one. That's 3 of them.
Texans, Jets, over 36.5. Texans literally do that by themselves.
Jets don't score.
No way.
Jets don't score. Jets haven't scored over 6 points since I was born, it feels like.
That's why I said Texans do it by themselves.
I don't see that either, just because the Jets have a fairly good defense. Sauce Gardner has given up like 3 catches in 5 weeks. I mean, Tank Dell is out. Put Sauce Gardner on Nico Collins, and I think that Texans offense could struggle a little bit, but we'll see. Jets don't win that game by any means.
No.
But can we go Lions -4 at the Bears?
No, honestly, I have.
And no, Zach doesn't want that.
I mean,
can we go Lions money line? I don't think the Lions lose to the Bears.
I'll take Lions money line, but the last time the Lions played the Bears, Justin Fields looked like a reincarnate of Jesus Cristo.
A little bit, yeah. All right, we've got 4 here. Let's go for our 5th. How about we go for a high flyer? Cowboys Eagles over 51 points.
26-25.
That's not bad. These two teams score points. Let's look at them.
27-21.
Did they already?
My MVP leader, Dak Prescott.
Did they already play once? They already played once, and it was 28-23, which is that 51 points. Cowboys score a lot of points at home. Eagles are going to match it.
Eagles do score. Their Eagles are averaging like 40 points Cowboys are averaging 41 points at home.
Cowboys score a lot at home, and I think the Eagles are a good enough, motivated enough team to match that scoring. I think this could be a very high-scoring football game.
I think the Eagles have to figure it out offensively.
I agree.
Honestly.
It has the makings of an embarrassment game at the same time. I don't know. Maybe not that one. Maybe not. I'm not feeling.
I'll take the over 50.
I don't know if the whole group is feeling the over 51. We have other games here too.
I think the Cowboys score enough, and I think the Eagles' offense is not at that inept. I mean, they still do score.
Yes.
They have scored a lot of points in certain points.
At certain points, they have scored.
So
that one does scare me a little bit though, because I could see that 45 to 55 range. So I mean, 51 is a very high mark.
I'm gonna say it. I'd be down to take Cowboys -3 too.
Ooh.
He's picking the boys.
I don't know if the Eagles. I don't know if this Eagles team loses back to back, even with red zone struggles. I don't know if they lose back to back. We're gonna have to see the Cowboys win against a good team. Their win against the Seahawks was impressive, but
just be Seattle.
Should we go the over 51? Should we root for points this weekend?
I'll go over 51.
Let's root for points this weekend. Yeah. Points. Those are our 5. We have Ravens -7.5. That took some teeth pulling to get to there, but we got it. We've got Lions money line.
I think that's crazy.
We've got 49ers money line against the Seahawks at home. We've got Vikings Raiders under 40.5 points, and we have Cowboys Eagles over 51 points. Those are our 5. Lock them in. Let's get a garbage shoot and let's get out of here.
Colts Bengals.
I like Colts Bengals. I also think Jags Browns disgusts me. I know that Deshaun Watson is out, but that matchup just screams gross.
Honestly, I think that matchup screams blowout. I think the Jags.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fucking blowout.
Maybe.
Yeah. But those 3 games that you had, Colts, Bengals, Jags, Browns, Falcons, Bucks, I wouldn't touch any of those games, to be honest with you.
Saints, Panthers, just with the nature of how the Saints play the Panthers, also scares me. But honestly, every game we didn't talk about
don't touch
is a garbage shoot game. I'm going to be honest with you. That's going to do it for another episode of Under the Lights. We went a little long there, but we got some clips for you guys out of that one for sure. If you've made it to this point, hopefully you enjoyed the show. If you're going to tail any of our end of episode picks there, we ask that you be safe, only bet what you're willing to lose. We recommend you tail straights, not parlays. It's just not smart. There's like a 0.0001% chance that you hit them. But bottom line is, have fun out there. Be smart. We don't want to see you guys down bad, obviously. If you haven't already, make sure to go down, subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss another episode. Let us know how you're feeling. If you've made it to this point, engage down below. Let us know how the episode was. Let us know where we can improve. Give us segment ideas. Give us anything that you guys want to hear. Give it to us.
Go ahead and flame me.
We'll deliver. Whatever. If you're listening over on podcast, make sure to follow it over there as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow them both. Give us a rating over there so we can get out there as well. But that's going to do it. That's going to do it for another beautiful Friday night Under the Lights, episode 13. And we are going to see you guys again.
It's Monday night.
It's Tuesday night when they're seeing, though.
You just said Friday night.
Did I see Friday night?
You said Friday night.
I might have said Friday night. Either way, it's a beautiful night of the week. You guys have no idea when we're recording this. It's a beautiful night of the week.
This was recorded in October.
We're gonna see you guys next Tuesday. We love you guys. We'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.